Good evening. Hope everyone's having a good night tonight. First things first, I want to thank all the boosters and the parents for this evening, as well as, can you hear me? As well as all your help this season, fundraising, volunteering for your kids. Coach and I cannot thank you anymore for your volunteer time, and your support. So about a month or so before the first trial, Coach Wiggins and I were talking about how I could help for the team this season. I'd always wanted a coach, and I knew that he was having a baby, and I wanted to help out as much as I could. And then a week before the season started, I got hired by the school as an education assistant. And then a few days later, Coach called me up asking me if I had any interest in the JV head coaching job. So at first I was kind of standoffish. I didn't really have a lot of head coaching experience, and I told him I wanted to take more of an observant eye and to see how we ran practices and handled in-game situations. So I was basically pretty nervous to tell him I couldn't handle the responsibility. But after after hearing what I had to say, he basically just said, "Well, I'm telling you, you're going to be the JV coach," and there I was. So, with a lot of things happening at once, a new real-world job, first head coaching job. You know, I thought it was going to be really overwhelming, but to tell you the truth, I couldn't have asked for a better group of girls to coach this year. They made everything so much easier for me, and it's such a pleasure to coach. They never got down on one another, were always positive in the practices and the games, always smiling and laughing, having a good time, even in practice after some tough losses. As a JV coach, my focus isn't really on wins and losses. Sure, I like to win, but I'm really more interested in the improvement of the players as individuals and how we work as a team. And I believe that every single one of you players improved in skills and confidence from game to game and practice to practice. So with that said, I'm going to recognize some of the JV players on the team. So when I call your name, come up, and Coach Lang is going to give you your certificate. So the first player I'd like to recognize is someone that's always looking to improve and how she can get better. And she also gave some great minutes off the bench, grabbing a lot of key rebounds for us in key moments. Ashley Ahern. This next player also played a huge role off the bench for us for most of the season. She eventually cracked into the starting lineup due to a couple of injuries. She played with a lot of explosiveness and speed, and she used that to her advantage on both the offensive and defensive ends. Bella Berardi.
Good job, Bella.
Right after the first few practices and all the tryouts that we had, I saw this player as our point guard, and I wanted her to run the offense. Just a few days ago, after the season ended, she told me that it was her first time ever playing point guard. And if she hadn't told me that, I would have never known, because I thought she did a great job at helping us run our offense. And yeah, Cameron Bowman. This next player also did a very good job for us at the two-guard position, and she made some really great offensive plays in key moments. The win against Dover Sherborne is coming to mind. She had a couple of really big jump shots. Jen Karamanaka. This next player I'm going to introduce made some incredible strides throughout the year in all the facets of her game. Every game and every practice, you can see her growing more and more comfortable, and she also grew a lot of confidence. It was really fun to watch her getting better and better as the years went on. Alyssa Goddard. This next player was a girl who wouldn't back down from anybody. She was always willing to set the tough screen and box out the biggest girl on the opposing team, and would try to grab every single rebound that came her way. Brittany Holmes.
Yeah, Britt.
This next player was one of our best communicators and also a great teammate. She brought a lot of energy, enthusiasm, and was willing to do whatever she could to help the team win, whether it was playing point guard at the end of the season or playing down low in our zone defense against some forwards and centers. Abby Giuliano. This next player had a great nose for the ball, and we don't keep this stat, but I'm 99% sure that she was our leader in steals. Whenever we went zone defense and she was playing down low, she always knew when to jump the pass to get a steal and go the other way. And I kind of put her through a lot because there were a lot of times where I had her playing multiple positions in the game, 3, 4, 5, and she handled it really, really well. Julie Mack. This next player was someone who I wasn't really afraid to ask about feedback or suggestions for our team, what we could do better in the games. She's one of the toughest players I've seen play, and she played really hard-nosed basketball, willing to go after all the loose balls on the offensive and defensive end, Jill Poplowski. This next player was one of our more consistent players all year. She played the post position very well, even when she was going against centers and forwards that were a little bit bigger than her. She brought a lot of enthusiasm to every practice in the game and always had a smile on her face. Gabby Sears. And last but not least, this girl was another one of our post players who played the position really well. There were a few times this year where she amazed me with some of her moves off the dribble, most notably against Dover, Sherborne, and Holliston. She did it against really good defenders as well, Amy Tessitore.
Good job, Amy.
Yep. So we had a most improved and an MVP. I'm going to do our most improved player first. This girl was someone who was always willing to work on her skills and practice. She gained a lot of confidence in her games. Her improvement was tremendously noticeable as she was being stronger and stronger with the ball every game and every practice I watched. The players voted Alyssa Cotter as most improved.
Wow, Alyssa. Woo!
That's my baby.
Our team MVP was one of our leading scorers and also was someone who got all of the teammates involved. The players voted Cameron Bowman. Lastly, I want to thank Coach Langning for giving me the opportunity to coach at a high school program. Being a first-year head coach, he really helped me understand how to manage game situations and how to run practices. The fact that he trusted me enough to coach a high school basketball team with not a whole lot of experience is something I'm really appreciative of. So, thanks, Coach.
All right, we're going to jump right into the varsity season from there. Congratulations to all the girls on the JV team. Great job this year. Looking forward to watching each of you in the future. One thing that we talk about at the start of every season is just always focus on improvement. We focus on it on the individual level. We focus on it on a team level. Just every day, we want to be getting better at something. Always be improving. It's something that I hope these girls have heard many times throughout the season. This was a winless year, which is obviously a challenge in itself. But despite that, we did find a lot of things that we got better at throughout the season. And some of those things are statistics that just stand out as things that are progress. All right, and that's what we always focus on is the progress and the improvement. For instance, when you take the first half of our season and the second half of our season, we improved at both, our points scored per game and our points allowed per game, which is good. That's the direction you want to be moving in. One statistic that stands out is in the second half of the season, we attempted 28 more free throws, and on those 28 attempts in the second half, our free throw numbers went up significantly. They went up 14%, which is huge. And that's just a credit to the girls' dedication to saying, we're going to become better free throw shooters. And they worked at it, they practiced it, they did it before practice, they did it after practice. And those are the types of things that we try to emphasize, because that kind of commitment to progress shows. There's also a lot of intangibles that the girls got a lot better at during the season. One thing we talked about a lot was kind of just the being competitive and mental toughness. And I think that was something that we struggled with in the beginning of the season. The second half of the season, and I talked to the team about this, after we played at Ashland, we were down 21 points at the half, and we came roaring back and got to basically in a situation in the game where we had a legitimate chance to tie the score, if not take control of the game. That was something, and I said this to the team, that I don't think we would have done in the first half of the season. I think just our mental ability to stay focused and stay with it improved significantly as the season went on, which you can't measure in stats, but I think that in our locker room, I think we all felt like we did make big strides in that area. And that was something that I was really proud of them for. I thought it was important, and I think it was something that we will continue to get better at. And even, obviously winless isn't the way you want to go, but we did have a lot of competitive battles, which is great. Five of our games were, one possession games or tie games at the half. 8 of the games were games that if we just could, unfortunately we can't do this, we could delete one quarter, it'd be a totally different outcome. And one thing that we talked a lot about is that's part of competition. You don't get to push the reset button like you do when you're playing PlayStation or Nintendo. There's no, if you give up a lot of points in a quarter and you're down big, that quarter stands, and that's part of competition. But that's one of the great things about competition as well. And I think we learned a lot from that, and we now know that, hey, it's got to be a 32-minute commitment every night. And when things like that happen, our ability to compete and to bounce back and to learn from those experiences is huge. And I think that that's something that we're really going to look back on at the end of this season and going forward, understand that we have to learn from that. And that's what we had this year with a lot of our challenges. We have a lot of opportunities for growth and a lot of opportunities to learn. So at the end of the season, we had some competitive games, but 2 of our losses at the end weren't very competitive. And I was really proud at the end of those games when the opposing coaches and the opposing athletic directors come up to me and talk about how hard our girls are playing and how much they've improved from the first time we played them, and just the level of effort. Even though even at the end of the Whitman-Hanson game where they knew that was our last chance at a win, even complimenting us then. And I think that says a lot about your girls' resiliency, your dedication, your perseverance, and your commitment, which is things that we talked about during the season. We talked about being resilient. We talked about perseverance, and those are the type of things that I think you'll take with you, I hope, off the basketball court. When you go into a challenging situation, having your team around you and sticking together with your team, which is something that I thought this group did very well, will go a long way for you. So that's something that we can learn from. That's something that we can hang our hat on a little bit and say, we stuck together regardless of these situations, regardless of these challenges, which is something you should be proud of. One thing that I said at the end of the season meeting that I'm going to continue to say now is just that we don't want to. We made a lot of progress, but we don't want to pick up where we left off. We want to be further ahead than where we left off. It'd be great, if we could keep the season going. I feel like we were going in a great direction, but we want to work this off season and get better, so that we're not we made great progress, but we can keep making progress from now until December 1st. So that's one thing that I think I've planted in your brains already, and I hope that you continue to think about. At the end of every season, I hear this question a lot. I heard it from my mother. I heard it from my coworkers. Are you happy the season's over? And the answer is always no. I wish we were in the gym today after school. I miss it. I talked to Marissa about this at our individual meeting extensively. I can't wait for December 1st already, which is a credit to you girls, because you're a pleasure to work with. You're a pleasure to coach, and I look forward to getting in the gym on December 1st and being ahead of where we are right now. So thank you for a great season, and we're going to do our recognitions and our individual awards.
Certificate, and then just listen to what I say for the first thing to do.
The first player I'd like to recognize is a player that fulfilled a lot of roles for our team, and she including giving us kind of a little bit of edginess, which every team needs somebody that can provide that for them. And that's this is her 3rd varsity letter. That's Marissa Amato. The next player to be recognized is a player who quietly made more progress and more contributions on both ends of the court as the season went on. She improved both, I thought, defensively and offensively, and I thought she did it every day. And this is her first varsity letter. That's Christy Brennan.
I like the dog. I'm thinking like, oh, who is it just looking at us?
The next player to be recognized, I thought, was a much more aggressive scorer this year at times, and she complemented that very well with finishing second in assists on our team. And this is her third varsity letter. That's Chloe Gill. The next player to be recognized was asked to do a lot of things for this team this season. I thought she did it very well. She was recognized as an honorable mention selection for the Tri-Valley League, and we'll also, I don't think this is in the paper yet, but I was told it was true, so I'm going to go with it. Was also a first-team All-Scholastic for the Taunton Gazette, and that's Maddie Murphy, her first varsity.
Maddie!
The next player to be recognized is a player that I think has a very good basketball IQ, and she's constantly working hard, getting up extra shots when she can. She not only does she have a great basketball IQ, I think she has a great passion for the game of basketball, which is a pleasure to see. And that's her first varsity letter, Kayla O'Keefe. The next player to be recognized was our second leading scorer. A lot of teams started to mark her as a shooter, and I was proud of the fact that she started to get to the foul line a little bit more and find some other ways to score at the end of the season, and started to adjust to that. This is her third varsity letter. That's Ashley Pelletier.
Thank you. Thank you. Literally like,
The next player to be recognized rejoined this program this year, which was really exciting for us. It was a thrill to have her on the team. She has a great competitive edge, which again is something that I think every team needs. And she's always focused, and she brings a ton of energy to every situation. And she's really entertaining to watch when you watch film on the bench. Really entertaining to see what her reaction is to every play. This is her second varsity letter. That's Amy Pereira. The next player to be recognized contributed in a variety of ways. I think I was most impressed with her consistent team-first attitude and her constant willingness to improve and to listen. I thought she made tremendous strides this season, and I think she's going to develop into an excellent perimeter defender, specifically her first varsity letter, Brooklyn Williams. The last two players to be called up are our seniors. We'll do them individually. These two are a pleasure to coach. Want to congratulate them on their 4 years at Norton High School. I only had them for 2, which I wish I could have had them for all 4, or I wish I could have you for the next 2 or 6 or 8.
stay back and watch it. Just failed.
They were a lot of fun to coach, a lot of fun to work with. I think they did a good job leading this team by example. And I think one thing that they wish went differently for their careers was their record, obviously. But I think that they did a good job keeping this team focused and keeping this team working hard throughout the season, because unfortunately they've been through it, and they know how to stay on track and how to continue to compete even when you're struggling in terms of record and score. I hope they're leaving this program with some great relationships with their teammates, some great life lessons hopefully, and they can look back and just think about how positive an experience this was. So congratulations to you two. The first senior to recognize was a very vocal captain. She At the beginning of the season, she was asked to do something a little bit differently in terms of her position. She was tentative, but she embraced the opportunity, and she did a great job with it. A little bit undersized when she was playing the post, but she battled, and we appreciate that. Her third varsity letter, Megan Pastano.
Man. Ooh.
Thank you.
Good job. The last player to be recognized is our other senior captain, obviously Samantha Lang. She often led by example. Her dedication throughout the last 2 years has been phenomenal. Communicated well with me, communicated well with her teammates. If she wasn't physically able to play, she was there to support everybody around her. Incredibly willing to sacrifice her body and take charges, even when injuries happen, which I think from a teammate standpoint is something that you always respect and appreciate. And I think in her final stretch of career of basketball at Norton High School, at least in the last 2 years, I think she was playing her best basketball, which was fun to watch. And this is her third varsity letter, Samantha Lang. You got the pin too.
Yes, Sam. On your hair.
Great work.
Go, I like them.
You want to do the thing? Okay, yeah. Actually, continue.
I'm going to do the awards. Is that all right?
Yes.
All right.
Do your thing.
So we have a couple different awards to give out. The first one is an award that we're starting this year, which was most improved player, but not during the season, during the off season. So who returned from their off season and started the Monday after Thanksgiving and made the most progress. This year's we had 6 people to choose from because we had 6 returning players, which is unusual. And out of these 6, I think a lot of them showed a lot of great progress and did a lot of great things. This player stood out as being a far more aggressive player, both offensively and defensively, which at the end of the season last year I asked her to do. Her statistics improved across the board. Her scoring nearly doubled this year. Her rebounding improved, and her assist numbers tripled. I had the opportunity to watch her play in the spring, in the summer, and then again in the fall, and you could tell right from the first day of tryouts that the work that she was putting off in the off season was really paying off. And I thought the player that demonstrated the most progress was Chloe Gill. This is again a most improved award. This was voted on by the players at the end of the season meeting. It goes to the player that the team felt improved the most from the first day of tryouts until the end of the season. I personally saw a lot of growth in this player throughout the season. She ended up finishing the season with the 4th most points on the team. And in the first 8 games, which is almost the first half of the season, she was only averaging 1.5 points a game. I don't think that her scoring was the only area that she really improved in. I thought she made incredible efforts to be more physical and be more aggressive on the defensive end. And then in the final 4 games really limited her turnovers as well, which was great to see. At the end of the season, she saw herself on the court a lot more. She was getting a lot more opportunities, and she was doing a great job taking advantage of it. And I hope that her development only continues, and that's Christy Brennan.
Yay!
Our most valuable player was also voted on by the players. This goes to the player that the team felt was the most valuable player on the court. She led our team in nearly every category statistically. She had finished with 205 points. She finished with 130 rebounds and 46 assists. She also had 22 steals and 12 blocks on top of that. She was asked to do a lot in her first year, and as I mentioned, she was a Tri-Valley honorable mention and a first-team Taunton Gazette selection, and that's Maddie Murphy. The JFK Award is a school award that we give out. It goes to a player that represents this team well on and off the court. We're blessed with so many people that do that, so thank you girls for that. She was a vocal leader through the season, and she did her best to lead by example. A 3-year varsity player, and a pleasure to coach the last 2 years, and that's Megan Pisana. And I think we're gonna do senior scholarship next, or if you want to go.
Okay. Well, this is a gift from us. Not really a huge speech giver, but this is for Coach. We appreciate everything you do. Obviously, it's hard coaching us, probably, because we're crazy and weird and I don't know. But yeah, here you go. Thank you for everything.
Thank you. Very welcome. Wait. What?
We also got Coach John a little something. He got you a card.
Oh.
Hope you enjoy.
Thank you.
Also this.
Whoa.
Oh, sorry.
But at the same time,
Oh, I like this. Thank you.
I like some gear.
Woo.
Shabuya.
Shabuya.
Wow, those are beautiful shirts. Beautiful shirts. Right. Right.
So Katie and I were over there fighting about who was going to do the public speaking. Yes, I lost. I'm just representing the Booster Club, and I'm here to, and it really is a pleasure to be able to present the 2 seniors with the senior scholarships. And that's goes to Megan and Sam. And we also have a gift for Brittany from the team. For all of
All right, it's almost the last time you have to hear me, so bear with me here. We started another award last year, which was the Lancer Award. It goes to a person that makes contributions to the program, either on the court or off. Last year, Bria Caro was injured basically in the first game of the season, and she did a great job helping the team despite her inability to play for the rest of the year. She was our first recipient. This year, the award is going to go to somebody that's been helping the program for several years. She's advocated for the program on countless occasions, and has stepped up to help out in any way possible. For me personally, she's been a great resource for the last 2 years, which I greatly appreciate. And she was already recognized at senior night for her contributions. And I think the program will miss her in the future, and that's Jane Lang. Thank you. It's not
Very
much fun.
appreciated. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
And I think before we get to our slideshow, we'll announce the captains for next year. To do that, I'm going to call up Sam and Meg. Thank you. Nice wrap job.
Yeah, pretty nice. I probably could do better.
I'd like to once again just thank these two for their leadership this year. They met with me in the preseason, and they've kind of been working for this program for basically since this night ended last year. They did a lot in the summer to help out, and they did a lot in the preseason to help out, and they continued their efforts throughout the season. So thank you two once again. They have a gift for next year's captains, which they won't open until later on in the spring. It says until you're instructed to do so, which will probably be in a month or two. But the players vote for the captains, and ultimately Coach and I discuss who we think would be the best captains, and we kind of weigh all the decisions. And there's 3 captains next year, and that's going to be Marissa Amato, Chloe Gill, and Ashley Pelletier. And you guys can.
I know, and down the baton.
Pass the baton.
These are for you 3. Are we ready for this?
Officially been taken from
Yeah, kind of warm it
no
up.
longer captain.
I'd like to just once again, Bella, I know that I asked Bella today how the slideshow was looking, and she said it looks good, and then I said that it was a lot of work, and she said yes. So I'd just like to give her a big round of applause. So thank you, Bella. I know that film is something that you enjoy, but I know that you went above and beyond here, and we appreciate it. And I hope everyone.